Hey everyone, how's it going? I'm back from that massive bike ride. That was ridiculous. I'm gonna make a full video of my reflections on the trip later, but for now we gotta talk about books because it's the end of stinking July and I read a lot of books in July. And part of the reason why I read so many books in July is because I listened to audiobooks on that bike ride. The first audiobook that I listened to on my bike ride was Women Talking by Miriam Toews. This book is pretty incredible. It's based on a true story of this kind of like religious cult living out in the wilderness. What was happening was the men in the cult were using animal tranquilizer on the women in the cult so that they could sexually assault and rape them. And the entire book is them having secret meetings in the loft of somebody's barn to try to process what's happened and come up with a strategy of what are they going to do before these abusive men come back. And what makes this story so inspiring and just downright impressive is the fact that these women have to overcome so much indoctrination and so much oppression in order to come up with a strategy of how they can liberate themselves. Good stuff. Then I listened to From Here to Eternity, Traveling the World to Find the Good Death by Caitlin Doughty. This is a nonfiction book for you. This woman literally just traveled around the globe visiting different cultures and different peoples to learn how they handle death and loss. I was interested in this book because of my own fears about dying, and I thought maybe this would get me comfortable with the concept or at least the topic a bit more. And I did learn a lot, and I did appreciate what I heard in that book. She is comparing all these different interesting things that people do with dead bodies to what we do in the US with our very capitalized version of dying, where it's all about buying the fanciest, most metal-lined coffin for no freaking reason whatsoever. It's just a waste of money, I think. My favorite things that she talked about, there was one culture who fed their bodies to vultures. They would put their dead up on these kind of stands and let vultures come and eat them. I really like that idea. I don't know. I think that sounds really good. I would love to be fed to vultures, but I don't think you actually can do that legally in the US. I don't know. The other cool thing that one group was doing was turning human bodies into fertilizer. They just had a system where they were like covering them with sawdust and some different things, and it was the perfect mixture of stuff to make the human body break down into really potent earth. I like the idea of that too. I don't know. I really don't like the idea of being stuck inside of a bulletproof coffin and then shoved down really deep in the earth where my body can be of no benefit to the earth whatsoever. I also don't like the idea of being cremated just because of the process of burning the bodies. I think is technically maybe bad for the environment to some extent. I just want to be given back to nature, okay? Yeah, I would like to be fed to the plants or fed to animals, if possible. Somebody make that happen for me. Thank you. Alternatively, I'm also not opposed to my body being donated to science for people to hack up and play with and learn things about things with. That's pretty cool too. Anyways, let's stop talking about death and talk about books. Why are we here? I listened to The 40 Rules of Love by Elif Shafak. The thing that I like about this book is that for me, it gives a very fresh perspective on God. And I like that. Then I read Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation Volume 4 by Mo Xiang Tongxie. Let me tell you something about Volume 4. It's the most ruthless cliffhanger yet. It is merciless. And so I followed that up with reading Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation Volume 5, which features the finale of Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation, as well as tons of little short story like extra things that you can read after the main story is finished. I loved the main story with all my heart so much. I did not care for the short stories. I kind of skimmed through them a little bit, but it counts as a book that I read, and I'm very proud of myself for it. And then I read The Black Prince by Iris Murdoch. This book is deranged. This book is the craziest thing I've ever read. This book is just unbearably, unstoppably, derangedly crazy, folks. It's everything that you could not want to happen happens in this book, and yet it's so freaking entertaining. It is grossly engrossing. Your eyeballs just get dragged across the page. Iris Murdoch. I'm going to be reading so much more. You're gonna have to brace yourself for that. I don't know how or what to tell you other than you should check some Iris Murdoch out. Did that make any sense at all? I don't know. No. Imagine a book where you have an unreliable narrator who's so blatantly unreliable that you just want to like slap him, and then every character around him turns out to be equally unbearable, and you never get any balance from any sort of reliable narrator, and everybody is doing just the most awful things they could possibly fathom, and it all just seems so natural and real. Anyways, the other thing that I did in the month of July was finish One Piece. I read up to volume 106, which is the latest, newest release of One Piece. By the end there, the library didn't have them anymore, and I was going into Barnes & Noble, hiding in the corner of Barnes & Noble, and reading it there in the store so that I wouldn't have to buy it. I think volume 107 comes out in November. I think One Piece is great. It's really the best and the only manga you probably need to read ever in your stinking life if you were going to read one. I've been working my way through 52 stories by Anton Chekhov. I've made it this far in. I really like his stuff. I really like his writing. There are exactly 2 moments in this entire book where I was like, ugh, he's really dating himself with that line, eh? But also Anton Chekhov is long dead. I don't think he needs to be super canceled. He could be canceled, but not super canceled. I may be the only person left reading Anton Chekhov and having this sort of discourse about him. On the whole, I love this guy. I love the writing that he does. I think it's very enjoyable. It's very clear that he is a man for the working class. And the main thing that I'm reading right now before I finish Anton Chekhov is from the library, A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. This book, I'm pretty sure, is a Book Talk book. I think that I only heard about this through Book Talk, and usually I don't go in for Book Talk books, but something about the cover, the vibe, I don't know, something spoke to me, and I said, it's a massive book, it's probably great. I'm not even 200 pages in yet, but what I've read so far has been really, really good. So yeah, junk, that's really it. That's everything I've read this month. That's everything I'm working on reading this month. We love books. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for next month. Subscribe because I know you aren't. I know you aren't. Life's too short to not be subscribed to this channel. And that is all.